Good morning, second graders. Today is Monday, May 11th, 2020, and this is our last full week of school. I can't believe it's already here, but I do have a week's worth of videos that I'll be making for you, and something special coming up the following week, special writing assignment that we'll be working on, but this week's going to be a little different. We have 2 weeks left of My View, Unit 5, Week 4, and Unit 5, Week 5, and so this week we will be combining those 2 weeks. So we're not going to be reading the stories that we normally read, working on the vocabulary from the story, and answering the comprehension questions. This week we're going to be doing some of the blue pages, that reading, writing bridge from week 4, and some of the writing from week 4. And then we're going to do the same thing for week 5. So today we're going to get started. Please get your student interactive out. We have 4 pages that we'll be working on, and we are going to begin on page 588. Again, this is page 588. So for our phonics this week, we're going to be talking about the syllable pattern where we have 2 vowels, and between those 2 vowels we have 3 consonants. So that's the V, C, 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 V syllable pattern. So these have 2 consonants that could be blends. Like for example, we could have the letter N and D, C and L, S and T. Those are 2 letter sounds that are blended together. 2 of the consonants could be digraphs like CH, TH, SH, and PH, 2 letters that spell one sound. A word with the syllable pattern B, C, 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 V would not be divided between either a blend or a digraph. So if you come to one of these words that we're talking about, you need to divide it into syllables. Then you should be able to read the word. So what you're going to do is see how these vowel, consonant, 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 vowel pattern words are divided into syllables. So let's take a look at these examples. So we have the word explain, dolphin, sandwich, and athlete. So notice where we have the PL, which is at the beginning of the second syllable. We have ND, which is at the end of the first syllable. We have PH at the beginning of the second syllable, and TH at the end of the first syllable. So your job is to decode or read these words, and then you need to go ahead and write these words down and make sure you're splitting them into different syllables. So it says reread the words in the chart with a partner, draw a line between the syllables, then read the words again, blending the syllables together. So I'm going to do this with you. We have the word hamster, panther, handsome, and mushroom. And so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and hold up the way these words need to be split into syllables for you, so you can pause it and go ahead and split these words into syllables correctly. So you have hamster, I have the ST at the beginning of the second syllable. I have panther with my TH at the beginning of the second syllable. I have handsome with my ND at the beginning, at the end, excuse me, of the first syllable. And then I have mushroom with my SH at the end of the first syllable. So if you haven't yet, go ahead and pause the video so you can correctly separate these syllables. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to sharing my screen so we can get back to work. So that's all you needed to do on this page. We're going to move on to page 589. It's more practice with these VCCCV words. It says to divide a VCCC word between the single consonant and the blend or digraph formed by the other 2 consonants. Then read each syllable. Okay, so for my turn, your job is to underline the word with this syllable pattern and then draw a line between the syllables. Read the word and then write it in a sentence. So we're going to do some of this together, but you need to do the sentences on your own. So for example, number 1, we see students, children. So which word follows that pattern? That vowel, consonant, 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 vowel. And so in children, see if I can get this correct. For some reason it's not letting me, but there we go. So in children, I have a vowel, the letter I, the vowel letter E, and 3 consonants, L, D, R, between those two vowels. So I need to underline the word children. Go ahead and underline the word children. On number 2, I have the word pumpkin, and I have the word supper. Pumpkin is the word you should underline because we have this U, 3 consonants, and then the letter I, which is a vowel. Now we have the words 100 and the word 1,000. You should be underlining 100 because we have our vowels, the letter U and the letter E with 3 consonants in between. And on number 4, you have the word Mr. and the word monster. Now I want you to notice, here's an example of why Mr. is not one of the words with this syllable pattern. Yes, there are 2 vowels, the letter I and the letter E, but there are only 2 consonants between. We are looking for words that have 3 consonants between the 2 vowels. So you need to underline the word monster, underline the entire word because we have 2 vowels, the vowel O and the vowel E with 3 consonants between, okay? After you have underlined those words, you also need to partition them, which means divide them into 2 different parts, 2 different syllables. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so you can follow along with me and see how these words should be split up. You're welcome to pause the video, divide those words into the correct syllables. And then when you're finished, your job is to use the word that we underline in a sentence. So on number 1, you need to use the word children in the sentence. On number 2, use the word pumpkin in a complete sentence. On number 3, you'll use the word 100. And on number 4, you will use the word monster. Make sure your sentences have capitals at the beginning and correct punctuation throughout and at the end of the sentence. We are going to move forward quite a few pages to page 623. So give me just a second to get there, and I'm sure you're getting your interactive turn to the same page as well. And I know we're skipping these stories this week, but these are great stories for you to read on your own anyways, for fun or for reading, for leisure. All right, page 623. So on page 623, we are still looking at syllable pattern, vowel, consonant, 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 vowel. And so this is a page that you can do independently. I will provide the directions for you, and I have confidence that you can do it. The directions say to write the spelling word that best matches each clue. Then write the My Words to Know words. Okay, so let's take a look at these words. I'll read them to you. Distract, address, concrete, ostrich, complain, pumpkin, 100, explain, monster, improve. And your words to know are measure and remember. So you have 12 words, you have 12 clues. You need to write the word that matches the clue. So for example, number 1 says large, fast bird. Which one of these words is a large, fast bird? It's an ostrich. So go ahead and write that word down for number 1. Let's say you move on to number 2 on your own and you don't know another word for gripe or to whine. Skip that one and move on to number 3. Do as many of these on your own as you can, and then go back and check to see which words are left to see if you can use process of elimination. And you can always look the word up in the dictionary to find what the meaning is if you're unsure of the meaning. All right, the last page we're going to work on for today is page 624. And on page 624, we'll be talking about compound subjects and predicates. So a subject is who or what the sentence is about. The subject is what they're doing. It's more of the action, okay? So the subject is who or what it's about. The predicate is the action or what they're doing. Let's go ahead and read. It says a sentence with more than one subject has a compound subject. So for example, this sentence is not just about one person, it's about 2 people. It's about Eduardo and Jess. Eduardo and Jess are great friends, so that's a compound subject. A sentence with more than one verb has a compound predicate. So if I'm talking about Eduardo and Jess and I say that they like to play soccer and ride bikes, so I have 2 verbs in this sentence. The friends play soccer and ride bikes. So I can have a compound subject, which is 2 people or things that the sentence is about, or even more. And I can have a predicate, which is where there's more than one verb. So if we want to go ahead and combine these, we have to use coordinating conjunctions. You have to use the word and or the word or to form compound subjects and compound predicates. So for example, in these two sentences that we just looked at, you can see both of them use the word and to either combine the subjects or to combine the predicates. So let's take a look at a couple more examples. Fruit makes a good snack. Popcorn makes a good snack. Instead of saying makes a good snack twice in two separate sentences, we say fruit or popcorn makes a good snack. Another example using the conjunction and is instead of saying the kids swim in the pool, the kids splash in the pool, we can combine those two verbs, swim and splash, by using the word and. The kids swim and splash in the pool. So your job today is to edit this draft. You might have to combine sentences to form compound subjects and predicates. You might have to cross out words and write the correct coordinating conjunctions above. Okay, let's go ahead and read this first, and then we'll go back and work on our editing. It says, Haley wanted to do something fun. Isabel wanted to do something fun. They could play a game. They could see a funny movie. They chose the funny movie. They laughed at the funny parts. They clapped at the funny parts. Wow, okay, this paragraph needs some editing because there is a lot of repetition. So the first two sentences read, Haley wanted to do something fun. Isabel wanted to do something fun. Couldn't we just say Haley and Isabel wanted to do something fun? So you need to cross out what I've highlighted, cross out wanted to do something fun, and that period. And right above it, write the word and. That way it now reads, Haley and Isabel wanted to do something fun. All right, the next two sentences read, they could play a game, they could see a funny movie. So instead of repeating they could, we could say they could play a game or they could see a funny movie. So what I need to do is cross out this period and make this T lowercase and then replace it with the word or. They could play a game or see a funny movie. So you know what? Shouldn't I cross all of this out? They could play a game, cross out the period, and they could. And we want to say they could play a game or see a funny movie. I think that makes more sense because we need to make sure we're not repeating ourselves. So just to be clear, you need to cross out the period and cross out they could and replace it with the word or. They could play a game or see a funny movie. That sounds best to me. All right, the last two sentences, the last three sentences actually read, they chose the funny movie. And I think that's fine. We can leave that. None of that, no part of that sentence is repeated elsewhere. But the last two sentences, there's definitely repetition. It reads, they laughed at the funny parts, they clapped at the funny parts. So couldn't we just say they laughed and clapped at the funny parts? So we'll leave they laughed. We are going to cross all of this out. We're going to cross out at the funny parts, period, they. And we're going to replace that with the word and. That way it reads, they laughed and clapped at the funny parts. Okay, you guys, I hope this was helpful. This is the last page you needed to work on today. Feel free to reach out to me if you ever need any clarification or any help or any questions when you're working. And I will have another video ready for you tomorrow. I hope you have a great afternoon. Bye, you guys.